go. Here we go. All right, guys. Welcome to the Brownie post-game show for arguably the biggest game in 21 years. We're going to be watching tonight Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns. We clinch playoff spot. They're fighting for their life. It's a big deal. Want to welcome everybody in to the show. I know we got John Schlegel in there. I see him. John Schlegel is actually a sponsor of the channel, so you'll notice over here the Schlegel Law Firm. That's John, so he's in chat live, ready to rock. Hambone's here, Xander, Gary Washington, American Saxon, Browns fan 77, Xander Hernandez, Jason Kimball's in the house, Mick the Dog is here, OGC Dave Delaney over on Twitch, Michael White, Jackie Haynes is in the house, Doug Diesel, Jeff Brown, Guts is with us. We have so many homies in the house. Brownie postgame is here. We will have Mike Restano should be joining us somewhere around 7 o'clock as well. So Mike from the Wednesday show will be here as well. And as always, I got my dad.
Right, he'll be in the middle, and we'll have plenty to talk about. We got the game last night. The games on Sunday, all moving in our direction, you might say. But clearly tonight is the big game. We need to have a good showing. It would be great to come out with a decisive win.
Yes.
And enjoy that Monday Victory Cup drink at 6 o'clock in the morning when I get up. And look forward to talking about it all week long and get ready for the the Giants next. And
absolutely,
it'll be a Tuesday morning victory if we can pull it off tonight. So I am very optimistic. Don't see any negatives at this point. Good weather, home field advantage, guys rested. Yeah, I think the only guy we were asking about as we talked this afternoon was Hooper, and
looks like he's out.
I'm anticipating he's not going to play.
Yeah.
We know Ward is out, but everybody else should be healthy. Miles, I'm hoping, has a good game, and see where it takes us. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was talking to Restano on Twitter. I don't know about everybody in chat. I found it impossible to work today. I was just on Twitter all day long. Hopefully nobody from the office is here. I was actually working. I did some stuff, and I had plenty of meetings. I was productive, but it was like one of those so much anticipation going on today. So me and Restano are texting each other and sending private messages to each other on Twitter all day long. And I was like, man, is Hooper playing or not? Do we know that yet? And he's like, I don't know. I was hoping you knew. So I just tweeted out, and instantly 12 people were like, no, he ain't playing. Yeah. So just give a couple of quick shout outs here. Nicotine over there on Twitch. OGC Dave over there on Twitch as well. I'm watching. I got both streams, both chats going live at the same time. We are live on YouTube and on Twitch. You can subscribe on Twitch. You cannot subscribe on YouTube. Sorry, but you can't. But Twitch you can. So if you have Amazon Prime or anything like that, feel free to subscribe on YouTube or on Twitch, and it would really help us out. We also have Patreon. We got Sabo Apparel. We got a giveaway today. We got Homage. We have a giveaway today. Schlegel Law Firm. Tim Ali Realty, everybody's coming out. Big game today. As I was saying, Gary Washington just said Teller is a go.
Good.
Okay, so they were watching him. New follower, Streak 2426. What's going on, Streak? Yes, so that's huge for us because I think it's really going to go down to an offensive thing, right? It's Browns' powerful offense versus Ravens. Well, historically they've been very good, but who knows? Seven losses this year, which is at this point in the season not as normal for the Ravens. I think things are a little bit scary. OGC Dave is from West Palm Beach. Florida. You're right up the street from my dad in Parkland, and I am in Orlando. So we got the Florida Browns fans bringing the heat. You'll notice that I've got the purple background, so I'm getting into the purple spirit for the game tonight. I'll be changing those colors if we win tonight, which I anticipate we do. Also, I'm rocking the Brownie postgame T-shirt. Right? So we got the merch, browniepostgame.com/merch. You just go to browniepostgame.com. You can figure out a way to get there. American Apparel. It's good stuff. So yeah, Dad, in terms of the game tonight, one of the things I wanted to kind of discuss and I wanted to talk about was, and this is kind of in relation to that Steelers game yesterday. Mm-hmm. I feel this is a must win for the Ravens. And it is a nice to win for the Browns. And let me kind of unpack that a little bit. The Ravens at 7-5, if they go to 7-6, the maximum wins they can have in a season is 10. Right. If they lose tonight, we will be at 10 wins, looking at 3 more to go against arguably somewhat weak competition in the Jets and Giants. There's almost a guaranteed win out of those 2 games. And then who knows what happens at the end of the season with the Steelers, right? That could be a toss-up game. We could talk about that here in a second. But in terms of the Ravens game tonight, if we win this game and go to 10, that means the most they can go is 10. Meaning if we collapse the last 3 games of the season and they finish by winning all their games, which they easily can, they probably have the weakest final 3 games of the season out of maybe anybody. So they can roll off 3 wins after us, and they could honestly, if they win this game, they could roll off 4, right? So. Tonight is a very nice to have game for us, but not a must win for us. It is a must win for the Ravens. We've backed the Ravens into a corner, and when you back a dog into a corner, they're going to attack. So
we didn't back them in, but they backed themselves into it by their play. That's for sure.
Right. Well, that's a good point. But either way, they're fighting for their life right now, and we're not, right? So, at this point. I hope we play. I think that the wild card is the Monday night factor. This is a national game. It's in Cleveland. We got spanked by them in the beginning of the season. We're going to want revenge on this. This is like I said, this is arguably the biggest game other than Vader 1985. Welcome. Other than the playoff game in 2002. This is probably the most important game.
Ancient history.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there are people probably in this chat that were not alive in 2002. My kids weren't. My kids were not even close to being alive in 2002. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Streak, welcome. Knew Pittsburgh wasn't going to stay undefeated the whole season. I agree. Vader, Browns control their own destiny. Really, I agree with you. My people over on Twitch are getting it on here. And I want to talk about the Ravens a little bit from the last 4 games. They've got us, tough. It's going to be a really tough game. I do anticipate the Browns winning tonight, though. So us, then the Jags, Giants, and Bengals.
Yeah, weak.
Those are 3 wins. Those are 3 wins for the Ravens. And although they've lost a couple games, who'd they lose to? The Chiefs, right? I mean, they lost to the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Titans, and the Patriots. Right? I mean, they're not losing to bad teams. This is like it's very similar to us. We lost to the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Raiders. Right? So the Ravens, although their team is doom and gloom right now and they're all crap in the bed, they still have they still have a path to 11 wins. Right? Going from 14-2 to 11-5 is not great, but still we'll take it. So today's an important game. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Ravens here tonight, Dan?
Well, they're beatable. We talked, on Sunday. We talked, even today, during the day a little bit. The team that beat us at the beginning of the year is not the same team that's going to be on the field tonight. And, from Baltimore's perspective. Right. And the same is true for us. We were, a lot of hype, a lot of, let's see what happens. It was an away game, no preseason, new coach, new everything, staff. guys getting to know each other, new people on the line, new tight ends, you name it. And so we didn't perform very well. But then we ran off a couple of nice victories, got ourselves situated. So the team we're putting on the field tonight is a lot different than what the Ravens saw in week one. And we're trending in the right direction with, some solid wins and a healthy team. And they're sort of so-so trying to find themselves. Pittsburgh didn't play very well last night. It was a touch and go with the weather at the beginning, with it sort of sleeting, but not that cold. But you could tell. I mean, they dropped 3 or 4.
It was a factor, especially in the very beginning. Yeah, Washington dropped 2.
Yeah, so I mean, they didn't get off to a good start. Although they got the pick and then they got the touchdown and they were up 7-0. But that pick six,
huge.
The second quarter, I guess it was, or towards the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, right at the end.
The whole game. I mean, Roethlisberger had a few nice passes after that in the second half, but the momentum swung definitely, towards the Bills. They knew at that point, especially when they went down and drove down at the beginning of the second half and scored a touchdown, they knew they could win that game, and they sort of controlled it. And I think Pittsburgh knew. And like you said, maybe they weren't that motivated. They already clinched the playoff spot because of the games on Sunday.
Right.
But you want to win. You want to have home field advantage, that type of thing. So Pittsburgh is beatable. The 4 games we have left, we can win all 4 of them. We're heading in the right direction. That's when you want to get hot towards the end, towards the playoff. And just hope we get through them, don't lose anybody, play well, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I think Daryl Ryder on Twitter today said that this would be the first 5-game winning streak for the Browns since 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, and I went back and did the math, and this will be, we have the opportunity for the first time since 1968 to be 10-3 at some point during the regular season. I think we were 10-3 at like December 8th, right about the same time. I mean, we are talking about a historically good season for the Browns, and it's all happening at the right time. Like, I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit. It's not only like how you lose, but it's when you lose, right? We lost that first game of the season, and I think that a lot of Browns fans, including myself, I wasn't sky is falling, woe is me, like I was in the Titans game last year when that happened. But this year I was like, all right, well, I mean, there are some excuses that we could make in terms of the OTAs, the not having a preseason, installing a new coaching staff, installing a new language for offense and defense and all that kind of stuff. And, players getting used to each other. The Ravens had that historical legacy of being together and having that stability within the organization. And we were kind of transitioning to this new team. Right. And then now we've rattled off series of wins. We've rattled off winning streaks. And we're in a really good spot. This reminds me a lot, and Restano and I talked about this quite a bit. This reminds me a lot of the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl in, what was it, 2018 when they won the Super Bowl? So it's, and it happens in baseball all the time. Baseball, you get hot at the end of the season, you get on fire, and Kansas City a couple years ago when they beat the Mets in the Super Bowl, or in the World Series, same thing. They just got red hot, and they were unbeatable there. So we're kind of in a position now where we have the opportunity to do that. Jones over on Twitch says, so this is pretty much the new territory for every Browns fan, unless you're watching Jim Brown in person. Pretty much. We are uncharted territory. Dad, did you see Jim Brown in person, or he wasn't on the team last time you went to a Browns game back in like the 70s, right?
Last game I went to was in 72, end of 72, December 72, Joe Namath, Shea Stadium. But no, Jim Brown was not playing at that point. But I had seen him on TV, through the 50s and into the early 60s, and he was just just unbelievable. He dominated and took 2 or 3 guys to take him down every time. Got up like he was hurt every time, just slow, methodical, back in the huddle. He didn't wave anybody onto the field like they do now. They run 12 yards, you get hit, and you wait for your backup to get on the field. No, that wasn't the case back then. He just got up, went back in the huddle, and then they called his number again, and he ran for another 6 or 8 or 10 yards. I mean, he was a great player. He was the best that O.J. Simpson was great as well. The moves that they were able to make, the yardage that they were able to do, the domination that they had at their time. So, but being a Browns fan, that was great for me.
Yeah, and this team now with Chubb and Hunt, I know we've had historically great backfields. We've talked about this a ton on the channel, and right. And this is one of them. This is one of those historically great teams. This is obviously rare. Over on Reddit, there's a lot of Ravens fans that are kind of losing their mind, calling the Browns fans toxic and all this stuff because we're finally happy that we have a winning team. And here's the deal. And I've said this over and over for a long time now, for since we've kind of started this new transition to this better team, that hey, we don't have to apologize. We're allowed to have fun and be excited and have a good time when we win games. We won 9 games. That's 9 times this year that we got to drink out of the Victory Monday mug.
Right.
This is uncharted territory for Browns fans in a lot of ways. You and I had watched the last season that was even close to this was that 2007 season when we were both living in South Florida and we would watch every game together. This is as close to that as you're going to get, and even better. And on top of that, it's Kevin Stefanski's first year, Joe Wood's first year, Andrew Berry's first year. So many positive things in this window that is now open for the Browns. So many proven moments so far that we've had this year. In terms, Baker had to prove it. Miles had to prove that he could come back and not be a knucklehead. The linebackers, Rustano and I talk about this almost nonstop on the Wednesday. It should almost be called like the Cleveland Browns linebacker Wednesday show, because we talked about Taki and Mac Wilson so much, and then finally they're showing up and they're doing it. So it's like there's so much energy and excitement going on around this team, and we finally have earned it. And tonight we have an opportunity to really show the world and earn the respect on the field by beating arch rival in division, meaningful game, locking in the playoffs, and Monday night, right? So there's so much going on. That the Batman hype video that I did is like up to close to 70,000 views. I mean, wow. It's real close. Yeah, it just hit 70,000 views, which is for Twitter, by far my biggest video on Twitter. On YouTube, we've got bigger videos, but Twitter, it's been huge. So people have really liked that Batman video, which is awesome. And people are into it, right? People are going nuts right now. Steve Z1 says, we got to start beating the Ravens and Steelers regularly. Our record against both teams isn't good.
Start someplace, and this is as good a year as any to start that. Streaks always start at 0 and go from there. They don't start at 15. So we are in a good position to keep things going with the talent that we have and the ability to improve where we have weaknesses through free agency, through trades, and through the draft next year. So this is a building year. We sort of knew it. We hoped it would be good. It has turned out to be good, better than the year before. The coaching staff we have a lot of faith in. They proved themselves up through 9 games. I think Stefanski is the leading candidate for Coach of the Year.
Got to be him.
I think the guy who the Buffalo coach is doing great. The Miami, who expected Miami to be where they are at this point, especially with the rookie quarterback starting a number of games here, even though they lost. They were in the game yesterday for a while. What's his name? Mahomes. He throw 3 picks yesterday to keep him in the game. But they clearly have. They're like us. They need to build. They lost some players, and yet they didn't suffer too badly. They have several nice wins this year.
Right.
So they're building. So I like our position not only this year, but I like it if we don't lose anybody, we don't get anybody hurt. Like our position next year as we start to get even better. And then you have another year for those linebackers you were just talking about,
Right.
having another year under their belt in the pros. It takes experience. You don't become an all-star, a Hall of Famer year one, year two. You build off of that, and you hope you don't get hurt, and you're able to play, and you're able to make the plays. And then if you surround yourself with other players, and that takes a lot of the burden off. It takes a lot of the pressure off. We can get somebody really good on the other side of Miles, then imagine how much pressure it would take off of him, and how much pressure that puts on the other team.
Well, look, here's a good point, and not to cut you off, but here's a good point. Think about the game yesterday with Bud Dupree out, and what that did to TJ. Right? So TJ looks human when he doesn't have Bud Dupree on the other side. So I think that could be. I mean, who knows at this point? We're going to be drafting in the high 20s, right? But I mean, there's still moves that can be made. There's going to be free agents that are going to be out there. Now, free agents don't always work out. Look at Jadeveon Clowney. Everybody was hoping that we could try to land Jadeveon Clowney because on paper, that's an amazing guy to be on the other side of Myles Garrett. But, hey, guys, this isn't Madden. And just because you have the guy on paper doesn't mean he's going to execute.
Yeah, you got a guy like Chase Young who, to me, he got hurt early. He didn't play much. Then he started to play, and he was, in my opinion, a non-factor. But he clearly was a factor yesterday throughout the game. It takes time, takes some getting used to. Obviously, it takes being healthy. That helps.
Right.
And helps to have, some talent around you so that you can take advantage of the situations when they occur. I like our position. I like where we are. I think it's going to be a great game tonight, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's so many implications that go on into this game. I think this is almost one of those games that you could sit there and say the whole trajectory of both franchises could be impacted by this. Golden Age Gamer, what's going on? Welcome, new follower over there on Twitch. The trajectory of both franchises. We're almost realigning the stars. And, I was watching Kyle Long. So it's Howie Long's son and Andrew Hawkins on Twitch earlier today. And they were talking about, the Browns and everything like that. And, the reality is here, this is, somebody was asking like, wait, what's going on with this team? Like what are the possibilities going on right now? Like people are just now waking up to the fact that the Browns are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are sliding the other direction. So, I mean, again, look at other teams. Look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins, nobody would have thought the Dolphins would be where they are today, fighting for a playoff spot.
Absolutely.
And the Buffalo Bills, the same thing. The Buffalo was kind of going in that upward trajectory, but it all starting to click now for Josh Allen. They were actually talking about who are the best quarterbacks out of that draft between Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Lamar Jackson. You could basically discount Josh Rosen. I don't even know if he's in the league, but Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. Between those guys, I mean, I want to say that Hawkins went with Lamar Jackson and Long went with Josh Allen, but they were all sitting there going, you know what? Baker's got a good team around him.
Yeah,
and
now
he's not losing games.
And Jackson had a good team around him last year when he won that as many games and was the MVP. I mean, you surround yourself with a good team, it elevates your game as well. If you've got the talent and you've got the ability, which Baker does clearly through college, through earning jobs the way he did from one school to another, and then earning that top spot to be drafted by Dorsey. Again, and your team slides a little bit like the Ravens did this year, and all of a sudden, of course, Jackson was out, I think, a couple of weeks because of COVID, but so that didn't help him. So things can change very rapidly, and I like our position. I just feel that we're rising at the right time,
Oh yeah.
and that's why I hope that we have a good game tonight to continue that consistency, that continue to try to get a little bit better each week, so that you really peak when we hit the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Golden Age Gamer. Just did his Twitch Prime subscription over on Twitch. Thank you, Golden Age. I really appreciate it. Welcome into the Brownie Post Game family. We're multicasting right now on Twitch and YouTube with the intent to move quite a bit of our live efforts over to Twitch. So thank you very much, Golden Age. Appreciate that, my man. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like I said, we'll kind of open the show. And we were talking a little bit about some of the possibilities today. I think the Ravens, by judging by the Ravens fan base, I think they're a little bit terrified at this moment right now. The potential
Sure.
to
They have the right thing. I mean,
yeah,
consider changes that have occurred for them, the upward movement for us. They're on the cusp of possible elimination if they lose tonight and then lose another game. They're done.
yeah,
So, I mean, that's scary going from 14-2 to it's almost like if you play in the Super Bowl, how many people get to report back to the Super Bowl? There's a lot of teams that never make it back, maybe never even make the playoffs.
right.
Change from one year to the next could happen on a dime. So we're in a good spot. We're in a really good spot. And I can understand where the Ravens are disappointed and they're questioning, the game plan, the moves, who's going to stay on the team, who's going to go, where do we need to improve, that type of thing. So we've been there. We've been there for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's I was talking to a friend of mine, a guy that I work with who's a Jets fan. He's going to be joining us for the Jets game in a couple weeks. And I asked him if he would like to come on the show and talk about it. He's a diehard Jets fan. And I told him, I was like, look, man, I was like, we've been there. I mean, Browns fans, the 0-16, the 1-15, we've been there. And I was like, look, emotionally, I understand where you're at right now. I can console you, hug you through the internet and just say it's going to be okay. Right. But they've got a chance to land a guy like Trevor Lawrence. And you know what? Again, stars can change very quickly. So
yeah, look, the Bengals were, after they watched Burrow play a couple of games, they must have been ecstatic. The fact that they made the right call, they got the right guy. He's able to step in and make them, forget about Andy Dalton in a heartbeat.
yeah,
So I mean, it just he did come back the other day though to beat him. So he got a little bit of revenge on the Bengals. But to have him get hurt like that, that's terrible in the first year like that. It's one thing to bang up your knee, but it's another thing to have major surgery and put in question whether he can start the season next year or not. But clearly talented. They made the right move. They picked the right guy, and just circumstances got to him. But that's how things can change just by adding one player. And obviously, the quarterback is the key. We've known that for 20 years, trying to get the right quarterback. And each year we think we do, or somebody plays a good game or two and then goes in the tank and plays terrible. They benched Glennon yesterday and put Minshew back in, and he played okay, but obviously they're a terrible team. They're not going anywhere, doing anything. But Titans are doing good. They had a good win with Tannehill yesterday.
yeah.
So they're sort of back on track after our drubbing. And so the good teams recoup. They learn from their losses. They don't take two in a row. Pittsburgh now has taken two in a row. Washington and, of course, Buffalo.
Yep.
Buffalo outplayed them in the second half. There's no question about that. And they deserve the win. So the teams to watch now are not so much the Steelers, even the Ravens. It's Kansas City and Buffalo in our league. So the road to the Super Bowl goes through those two teams at some point or another.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where this is going to be another one of our tests. We talk about this quite a bit. Every week seems to be some sort of test that's going on. Is it, are we playing a weak team? Are we playing, are we have to overcome something? Do we have COVID going on? Do we have an injury? what's happening, right? This week, it's about, can we beat a team that spanked us before, who's fighting for their life in the playoffs, and can they make it happen and stay alive for the whole thing? Yes or no? And that's really going to be the key.
Yeah, it could be a Bills Browns championship game. That'd be scary for us because Josh Allen, I mean, he can move that team. He can stand in the pocket. He can run a little bit. They got a running game to a certain degree. They got a passing game. Whether it's Kansas City or Buffalo, they're going to be tough for us to beat because we don't have a complete team the way they do.
Yeah.
We're missing, a step up or two in linebacker, and obviously we need to be healthy with our corners, and then we need a really good safety, strong safety, weak side safety, that type of thing, because we're not there yet. So we have, I think, too many holes. We'd have to get super lucky against either one of those teams but if we put up a good effort, I'd be happy with that too. If we got into the playoffs and got that far to a championship game, I mean, I'd be rooting as hell because that means we're one victory away from the Super Bowl. And I've been there before, and we just could not do it. We found ways to lose it, or Denver found ways to beat us. It just crushing. Oakland got us 1 year too. So, I mean, we were close. We were that close a couple of times.
Hold on a second, Dad. I got Ristano joining in.
Okay.
So everybody hang tight for a sec. Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
Hang on one quick second. I'm going to pin you up here and get you in the show.
Oh, you got the post game shirt on. I like it.
We got the merch, rocking the merch today.
I like it.
What are you wearing over there?
Got the white visiting jersey on.
Kids XL.
That's a bold jersey choice too. So I mean, you're going with the Hugh Jackson era.
Well, there's a story behind this. My dad had it in his basement, and he forgot he was going to give it to me, and then the whole COVID thing happened, and I've only been going over there, here and there to see them, because my dad's on biologics for his rheumatoid arthritis, so his immune system's down. Yeah, so we have to see each other from afar. But he was like, "Hey, I forgot I had this for you," and he threw it to me, and we're 4-0 in it. So hopefully we're fine tonight.
And that's why we talk about this on the Wednesday show all the time. I do not wear jerseys anymore during the game because we just win when I wear t-shirts. Doesn't matter what shirt it is, but I don't wear jerseys till after the game.
Right.
Just as I don't want to nix anything.
Right.
So Michael, what are your thoughts on the game last night, Pittsburgh and Buffalo? You must have been thrilled.
Yes, I was. It was a beautiful thing. I got to tell you, I think, and hopefully tonight we see what I'm about to say about Buffalo, but it seems like those guys now, they've hit their stride and now they're rolling. And I mean, early their offensive line looked a little suspect,
right?
But they stepped up, and I think that they hit their stride and they're on a roll now. So I hope that we follow suit, because I got to tell you that, I mean, of course the Chiefs are the cream of the crop, but I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's too obvious to say, yep, the Chiefs are going to be the team from the AFC. I feel like somebody's sneaking in.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Bills team or a Browns team, I don't know, but I don't know. I have a feeling.
Yeah, well, good. That's a good feeling to have.
I know, right?
So it gives us hope, gives us the something to look forward to. Clearly, and we're inching closer every week. The Bills helped us last night. They, even the announcers were talking about the fact that Pittsburgh had changed their offense from a running pass second, stay in the pocket longer, good defense, which they still have, but they lost a couple of players, I think, even last night.
Yeah.
But they're harping on the fact that Rosenberger was dropping back and throwing the ball and getting it the quick release, and that had changed his whole season so that he wasn't taking the hits. They sacked him for the first time in, I don't know, 100 and some odd passing attempts. They've sacked him for the first time last night. So he's enjoyed that. He's getting the ball out quickly. But then, as we saw towards the end of the or the middle of the second quarter with the quick drop, quick release, and I forget who jumped the route. With the corner jumped the route.
Yeah,
pick six into the end zone. So
right,
you can if you get patterned like that, and we obviously saw that game. I'm sure all our guys were watching that and saw that and jumped up like I did when he intercepted. But it showed us that we can, with our talent, even where it is today, we can certainly beat the Steelers in that last game if we play a smart game and try to take that advantage away, make him stay in the pocket longer, sack him a couple of times like we did last year, we have the ability to beat them. They are beatable. So
yeah, I agree, and I think, as for me anyway, watching the Bills, and I think that they've hit their stride. Then on the flip side, I think, I don't want to, demise might be a too strong of a word, but the Steelers, they have not impressed me the past 2 weeks, and I think we talked about on the Wednesday show, but with Bush gone and Dupree out, I think you can score on that defense. And I mean, the Bills were, how do you, Stephon Diggs was open early and often.
Oh God, yeah.
And all game. Like, how do you not account for him? And I know Hayden was out, but I don't know. Their defense looks a little suspect, and dare I say, without Dupree on the other side, T.J. Watt, he's still a dominant player, but nothing like we saw prior to those other two guys going out.
I literally said that exact same thing before you joined. I was like,
Did you
don't put Bud Dupree on the other side, and T.J. Watt's human.
Yep.
Right. And then if you look at the stats too, all season, TJ Watt has not been getting double teamed because they couldn't double team him.
Yep.
Right. Now you can. And there you go. You're not seeing that dominant guy who's in every play. TJ did, at least in the first half, he was pretty active. In the second half, it just Buffalo took off.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? I think the Browns have to look at that and go, man, if we could just put somebody on the other side who was an impact guy over there. Not to say that Olivier's not, but for whatever reason, not as productive as we had hoped.
Yeah.
But if we can get somebody in over there, shore up the safety position and some of our cornerback spots, get some depth in there, guys, we are looking at the making of a potentially very special window, which. We talked about this a little while ago. The first time we could be 10-3 since 1968, right? That's
crazy.
This is multiple lifetimes, right? Generational lifetimes since we've been this good and this interesting, and it's funny to see the national media starting to come around on it. Now, I think the national media, for all intents and purposes, is pretty lazy when it comes to their takes, especially about the Browns. They just look at the final score and they go, "Oh, Browns 9-3. Browns good now." Browns used to be bad when they had bad record, right? So, but we're starting to earn it, right?
Yeah, we're still one of the surprises of being. I think we're 21 points in the negative in terms of our totals of offense against the other teams, whereas all the teams that are really, really good they're over 100 points positive, 100 to the good side, and so we've won the close games, and we've gotten hit pretty hard in a couple of the losses, and that's why we have a negative number there. So it's not totally transparent there, but we went through a streak there where we were scoring some pretty good points, and then the bad weather hit and we didn't get that many points. So I'm hoping we return tonight and we put up a good number on them. I'm looking at maybe 35-27.
Yeah,
30, wow.
I agree, and I think that for me anyway, tonight is key, and I say that because you look at, and I hate to look forward. We know we go with Stefanski's mantra of 1-0 each week, but as fans, we're allowed to take a little peek ahead, and I look to Sunday. I mean, Arizona. I mean, they're a good team, but I mean, I think they're a team that's still a couple of years out, and I mean, they manhandled the Giants. So
Yeah.
I think if we can take care of business at home and we win this game, which I think we do, I have a feeling that we went out to Pittsburgh and they come to our place, and that is going to be some game.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just quick
Looked at
shout
the
out, real
stat.
quick. Rockstar Slush and Lil Air Play have subscribed on YouTube. Welcome to the Brownie Postgame family, guys. Appreciate you guys being in there. Go ahead, Dad. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. I looked at a couple of the highlights of the Giants game that Mike was talking about, and the Cardinals, they manhandled the Giants' offensive line. They sacked Jones 6 times, and then they took him out. He fumbled the ball 3 times, but he only lost one of them. They were able to retain 2 of them, and then they put Colt McCoy in, and Colt McCoy got sacked at least once. They may have had a record set against them by the Cardinals of 7 to 8 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason they didn't score any points. They just too many turnovers. They just could not get down the field.
Yeah, and Jones to me looked like he had no business being on the field. I don't know, but to me, watching him, he had no mobility. I feel like they almost threw him out there to play. So I mean, I would not be surprised if we didn't see Colt McCoy next week. If not, hey, I'll take another week of a hobbled Jones. So
Yeah, a hamstring. I think he's
yeah,
nursing. So those don't go away easy. You got to stay off of those to give it the proper amount of time to heal.
Well, the reality is, I mean, coming into last week before this Giants game, we were all looking like Giants could be scary, guys. Like, we're
yeah,
counting on that one probably being an easier game, but now with their defense, and who knows? And I think that's the new thing. Brian K, welcome. Um, that's the new thing here is like, I think we can beat them. Curtis Bear, what's going on? Welcome to Brownie Postgame family. Um, the Giants, I think, are a very beatable team. It's going to be interesting because we're going to have to go back to back to New York,
yeah.
right? Ground zero COVID. And it's like, I wonder if we're going to do something similar to what the Steelers did against Buffalo and maybe fly in that day, not come the night before. I
Right.
mean, this is kind of a little bit of uncharted territory here with, where we are currently in the pandemic within the football. We can't afford at this point to lose players to, something silly like staying in a unsanitary hotel.
Yeah.
So I think now whatever type of quality control and risk mitigation that the Browns have, not to say that any of it's their fault, but we've had players left and right go down. And I think at this point, because we're so close to the playoffs and so close to this, whatever may happen here in the future, we can't afford to have anybody go down, especially not a big player. Can you imagine if like Hunt and Chubb went down
Oh God.
or Baker went down in
Be
some of these
over.
games that are like must win to get into the playoffs, like right at the end, for something silly like staying in a hotel or maybe not even a hotel, but just like something that goes along with the travel, right? You're getting exposed to
Have to be
people.
you either. It could be somebody you got exposed to in an elevator, in a restaurant, on the plane. It doesn't make it doesn't take much to be exposed with it. It's so contagious. Not everybody feels the same. Not everybody feels like that. They've been beat like when you get the flu.
Yeah.
So some have they're asymptomatic and they could play and no problem, but they also could spread it too. So
Right.
it's through no fault of your own. A lot of guys are wearing the masks on the sidelines, and you know it's tough to predict what that can do. So we just got to keep our fingers crossed that we don't have that exposure.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, and I don't know if you guys talked about it earlier, but the one thing that's disappointing to me, and again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what's going on, but I really, really, really thought that we were going to see Ward tonight.
Yeah.
I thought he would play. From my understanding, it's not as serious of a calf as it was for Teller. I know that, at his position, it's a different ball game in terms of having to use that calf, but I really felt that this was an all hands on deck kind of game. And you look at the other side, and it didn't look like Calais Campbell was gonna make the start. And as you guys saw, he's active tonight. So I hope we get him back next week, and I would like to see a full complement on the defensive side of the ball. With Harrison, hopefully by. I mean, if we don't have a full complement minus Greedy by, I would say the Jet game or the Steeler game at the latest pre-playoffs. I don't know, but I just think that, man, I thought Ward was going to be there tonight, and he's not. And,
yeah, Mike, you saw that tweet that I sent you about where Greedy actually came out. He actually came out and said what the issue was. And I don't know what any of this. He said auxiliary nerve damage, auxiliary nerve damage.
Yeah,
in the shoulder. Greedy Williams actually publicly 2 hours ago came out and replied to somebody on Twitter asking what the issue was, and he was saying it's auxiliary nerve damage in the shoulder. I don't know what that means. We've known it
for Greedy.
For Greedy, yeah, we've known it was nerve damage. We just didn't know like what was going on, how long it was going to take, like what the deal is. And it seems like, I mean, nerve damage isn't. It's not like you're pulling a ligament or tearing a muscle or something like that. It's nerve damage. It's beyond something that I think modern medicine can quickly repair. Who knows? Maybe with stem cell stuff. Maybe some of this.
Fight through that stuff either. I mean, you lead with your shoulder pads.
Yeah.
You tackle, running backs that are
of course
moving quite a bit when they get to the secondary, or you have to just be able to run with the wide receivers. That obviously is a strong injury. Ward was the one, like Mike said, that that was the one that's sort of disappointing, lingering. You thought, okay, a calf. How bad can a calf be? Yeah. Unless you tear a muscle, obviously that's really bad. You could have surgery. But it must have. I didn't see him limp off the field when at the last game he played, but yet he's been out now a good 2 games, and this will be the 3rd, I guess, and with no prospect of he's really, really close. Although the coach was sort of indicating that last week, but then he didn't practice and he's not there tonight. He would have loved to have been on that field tonight. So if he was close, they would have put him in, but he must not be ready to go.
Yeah, it was a little bit puzzling to me, and the only reason I say that is I remember the first week that it happened. He self-reported on that Monday, and then that's when we all found out. And then I remember later in the week they were talking about, it wasn't as bad as pain-wise as it was on that Monday. So to me, you hear something like that and you think, okay, well, it's not as bad, a week or 2 and he'll be back. And that's not the case. And I'm not saying that, he's choosing not to play or anything like that. It's just, apparently
he's a tough kid.
Yeah. It's just a lingering thing. And just for 1 second, I did not stay at a Holiday Inn last night. However, I did Google, and that auxiliary nerve dysfunction is nerve damage that leads to a loss of movement or sensation in the shoulder. And it goes on. It's part of the rotator cuff muscle that stabilizes. I'm not even going to go here with the word, but I'm assuming it's the shoulder joint. So I doubt that we see him at all this year. I would think.
Yeah, no, I think he's done. There's no sense in bringing him back. We can deal with it, especially if we get Ward back. That will certainly help. We won't miss him quite as much. Mike, Sandy's friend Jerry's been suffering with nerve damage in his shoulder too. He got it from a bad case of the flu that really limited the way he could move his shoulder no more than halfway up. And there's no way you're going to do anything with that kind of limitation, no less get out there and play physical football. So,
right.
But hopefully we get Ward back, and that'll ease the pain a little bit.
Well, guys, we're going to do this. I don't think I actually did that correctly or not. We have too many people in chat right now for me to do the 1 to 100 thing, so I'm going to put a link in chat. I'm going to put a link in chat and how to enter for Homage and for Sabo Apparel, and then we'll do the giveaway. I'll pull the drawing of the giveaway on the post game show. We are going live tonight for the post game show as well, which will be probably like 11:30ish. What time do we expect this game to be over? It's got to be starts at 8:15 is the kickoff, so it's probably going to be like a minimum 11. At
least 11:30. Yeah. So I mean, if they run the ball a lot and the clock keeps moving, maybe it'll end early. But if we score a lot, then that means everything gets reset. They get more commercials, etc. People get hurt and lose downtime that way. So at least 11:30, if maybe even later. But we should ask people for their scores, Mike, so we can give that jersey away if they get it right.
That's probably going to be tough with 172 people in here.
Go ahead, let them go.
All right, we'll try it. Everybody in chat right now on both Twitch and on YouTube, type in your score now. And if you hit the score nail in the head, we're giving away a Browns jersey. So enter your scores now.
Win. No Raven wins.
Yeah, no Raven. Ravens win, you get nothing.
Right.
You have to actually send something to us.
Right.
10, 9, 8. This is all Pacific time, so I'm like creating this. It's like 6 hours.
Nobody predicting a low scoring game. Everybody's at least 24 plus points.
I think I had 28-20.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28-20.
37-20, 37-3.
I think I replied to Dave, Big Play Dave, who's asking about a score prediction. I said the Browns are going to win 60-0. I was like, well, you asked for it, so I think we're going to win by quite a bit today. But I think there's a possibility. I think there's a potential that we could blow them out.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Sure.
Why not? All right, so I'm gonna make sure that I got to be able to copy all these. How far? See, the problem is I can only go down, so I can only copy so much. So that's the challenge.
Yeah, too bad they don't retain the chat, so we could go back afterwards and look it up.
Yeah, that's just adding confusion to the process. But I do have all of the score predictions from lots of games. We had one guy who almost won. Remember, he almost won, and then that garbage touchdown, Tennessee garbage touchdown, and he ended up losing because of that.
A lot of strange endings yesterday to certain games. The Chargers game where they traded interceptions in the last minute and a half of the game. There were 3 interceptions. 2 by the Chargers and 1 by Atlanta, and they were able to heave it down with 12 seconds to go, the Chargers, and kick a field goal. The Saints almost came back when the quarterback fumbled the ball with a minute and a half to go, and they gave up a quick touchdown, and they had an onside kick and almost recovered that. So there were a couple of games that came down to the wire that the coaching, that even I think, Mike, you and I talked about the coaching decision at the end of the first half with the Chargers. They ran the ball with 12 seconds to go on the 5-yard line with no timeouts, and they couldn't spike the ball because it was 4th down, and they couldn't get the field goal team on the field. Why call a play like that? A bonehead play like that from the head coach or the offensive coordinator. And for lack of 2 seconds, they would have had a 3-point field goal. So You got to pay attention all the way through.
I mean, that's one of those interesting things too. Like again, the appreciation for Kevin Stefanski,
Yeah.
not only calling plays, but managing the game and then winning. I mean, there are knucklehead coaches everywhere. That Chargers coach, the Jaguars coach who took the points off the board in that game. I mean, we could be in a really tough spot, and we finally made their own.
With the blitz, at the end of the game, so that they throw a
Greg Williams
touchdown to beat them. I mean,
they're already talking about Mike McCarthy might be one and done in Dallas.
I could see.
No, I heard today just the opposite. I heard Jerry Jones said
but it's being discussed. That's my point.
The fans have got to be extremely disappointed. Bringing a quality coach like that and then have a really horrible year. Again, injuries and whatnot, but they played lackluster. Maybe they didn't make the right moves. The play calling, even with Jason Garrett calling the plays, a little bit suspect. Obviously, you have to do that with the talent that you have. But, there are going to be a few coaching positions open next year, I'm sure.
Guys, I'm dropping in chat right now the homage T-shirt link and the Sabo Apparel T-shirt link for you guys to enter into that. We have to make it a little bit more with this many people in there. I have to make it a little bit more scientific than just having everybody pick a number. So go ahead. I put the links in chat. Click on them. Go over and just sign up either with Twitch or YouTube or both, whatever. And we'll pull the winners for Sabo and homage on the post-game show. So tonight after the game, we'll have that up there for everybody. Just want to make sure that we just do it right and fair for everybody now that we're doing it on both channels and just make it easy for everybody. So T-shirt giveaways are happening. Hey, Evan Syntax, new subscriber on YouTube. Welcome, Evan. I think that we're kind of experiencing this transformation in the AFC North right now. And I would have said that the up-and-coming team would also have been the Bengals with Joe Burrow. But, I mean, honestly, there's a big question mark of what's going to happen with him. That was a massive leg injury. So Joe Burrow, how he played up till that point this season, I would say the Bengals are probably going to be a force to reckon with over the next couple of years, and we would probably be the scariest and most competitive division in football. But then I think, Colin Cowherd came out and said it today. He's like, Pittsburgh, your time's up. You had your run.
You read my mind. You read my mind because and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but that besides the fact of 10-3 and really on the heels of the Steelers, I got to tell you, there's a part of me that really wants to see Colin's Twitter video after a Browns victory tonight with the cigar. He's gonna have to eat a little bit more crow, but I'm here for it. Like, I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to. I think he's starting to come around because at the end of the day, like you can say you can hate on the Browns all you want. You can hate on Baker. You can come up with a narrative by finding weird stats all day long. But the Baker fanboys can do the same thing, right? There are ugly stats for Baker Mayfield, and there are amazing, incredible stats for him. So, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what happens on the field. Rachel is saying that 12,000 fans are allowed in the stadium today.
I was going to ask, not a lot, but they'll make some noise.
Yeah, welcome, Rachel. Good to see you in there. Yeah, it's not gonna be like that game yesterday in Buffalo where it just felt sterile, right? Yeah. It's New York. I get it. Even though it's upstate, it's still New York, and whatever. But and the governor of Ohio comes out and is like, okay. I know we've got a curfew, but it's the Browns. It's Monday Night Football. I can't take that hit from Browns fans, and it just goes to show, like, you can't mess with Browns fans. Like, it's a different breed. Like we still haven't forgiven refs for that the Bottlegate game, and it's been what, like a decade and a half since Bottlegate.
Yeah.
We hold a grudge. John Elway, we hold a grudge.
And until we win one, till we get to the Super Bowl, till we win one, we'll always have the drive and the fumble and the refs and
Yeah.
the move,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But it will go away immediately. First with getting to the Super Bowl, and then second if we win the Super Bowl. You get that monkey off your back, and it'll be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's like when Boston won, the World Series, and they finally were able to forgive Buckner, and
they don't talk about the curse anymore.
Nope.
It's over. It's done. It's history. So
yeah, it was the guys on Twitch, the Kyle Long and Andrew Hawkins were talking about the Browns move, and Hawkins was saying to Kyle, he's like, hey, you know that it's the old Browns versus the new Browns. And Kyle Long was like, what? What are you talking about? Old Browns, new Browns. So Hawkins literally had to explain to Kyle Long that the Browns had moved to Baltimore and all this stuff. And then Hawk is sitting there like, oh yeah. And then, so what happened was the Browns, so Art Modell sold the Browns then and went to Baltimore with Bill Belichick, and then they went on going on to win Super Bowls, and I'm like, none of that is true.
right?
Art Modell didn't sell the Ravens till 2004. Bill Belichick didn't come along with them, to Baltimore. He let him go before. No, I think he went. Did he let him go before he went to Baltimore or not?
Oh
It
yeah,
was either before or right after.
Yeah, it was like he was still
he never coached in Baltimore. He was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he actually was he was still in the organization when he left to go to Baltimore. So technically, technically speaking, I think Belichick was Ravens coach who never coached a game.
They started out really good. They announced the move in mid-season, and it just demoralized everybody, including the players, the coaches, everybody. Yeah. And they went like, I don't know, 4-8 after that or something like that, some crazy record.
They did win the last game.
And then they go to Baltimore, and within 2 years they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was. I mean, thinking back to it, when they announced that we were going, I was a fresh sophomore in high school, and I remember one of my friends told me that they announced on Sports Center that's how you got news, was ESPN back in the mid 90s. That was basically it. The internet wasn't what it is today, and that the Browns were moving, and I was like, no way, the Browns aren't moving. That's crazy. You're crazy. Right. You're insane to think that. And then sure enough, it was like a nightmare. And I could never, I couldn't believe it. And, I still think back to this day. I mean, my dad and we never lived in Cleveland, so we're not from Ohio, we're from Pennsylvania. And, when the Browns were going to move to Baltimore, initially it was announced that they were going to be the Baltimore Browns. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, but, and for us, Baltimore's only an hour and a half from central Pennsylvania versus 6.5 to get to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So if we were going to be Browns fans, geographically speaking, it would have been advantageous for them to move to Baltimore if we could have liked them. But it just felt disgusting to think that they wouldn't be in Cleveland, because part of being a Browns fan is Cleveland.
Yep.
Right?
I wonder why they didn't take the records like just about every other team.
They sued. The city sued.
Yeah, the city sued.
Yep, the city doesn't own the records. You would think the owner, Modell.
I think from a PR standpoint, I think it was the PR standpoint, because the thing with Modell was Modell didn't have any money. Modell was a poor, he didn't fit with where the NFL was going in the 90s and then into the 2000s, where if you're not a multi-billionaire, they don't even want to talk to you. Yep. He didn't have any money. So he was like, okay, fine. Well, I don't know if he sold the rights to this stuff to the new organization. He might have owned something. I don't think he gave it up for free. I'd be surprised if he did. If somebody in chat knows that answer, I'd love to know. But I know that there was a lawsuit but you're right, Dad. Like, what claim does the city have? It's a privately owned organization. Like, they don't have any right to that. So
Yeah. Do the Redskins, did they have the right, the city of Washington, D.C., do they have the right to the Redskins name and record if they decided to
Dad, you're
move?
gonna get us flagged by using that term. So let's. Well, did you hear that? You hear that the Indians
Yeah.
are now gonna. What are they going to be? The baseball team?
The
No,
tribe. I heard
no,
of it.
no. Today, actually, it's funny that you said that, Dan, because I just read something where uh, why is the owner of their team, Dolan, said that he had met with I think it's several different Native American groups, and and he basically said that's what they were going to do. They were going to call it the Cleveland Tribe.
Right.
But then, and I didn't read the whole thing, but it just, at that point, it was they felt that was inappropriate as well, and
Well, they're
here we
going
are.
with
So
the Indians for one more year,
Yeah,
21.
it's like we're
yeah,
gonna offend you one more time, guys. Don't worry.
right.
But here's the really funny thing, and I'm not saying funny, but the interesting side of it, being in Florida for the past 20 years, and the Florida, it's the Seminole tribe down here takes a completely opposite approach to the northern Native Americans. So the Seminoles down here are a brand. So the Florida State Seminoles, there was a big movement to change the name of the Florida State Seminoles because they thought it was offensive. And then the Seminole tribe, the tribal council said, "Hey, hold on a second. This isn't offensive. This is that's a big thing for us to have the Florida State Seminoles. We are the Seminole tribe. We're cool with it." And then the Seminole tribe in South Florida built that casino, the Hard Rock
Right.
Casino, made so much money they bought. The Seminole tribe in Florida owns Hard Rock, the brand
Oh
Hard
wow,
Rock
I did not know that.
globally. Yeah, it's all run out of essentially Hollywood, Florida.
Right.
Wow.
So it just
Yeah.
it
They were
depends on
owned.
your perspective, right? If there's money involved with it, maybe if there was a specific tribe that was attached to the Indians or the Redskins, maybe that would have been a little bit different. Um,
Right.
but I do think, honestly, if I'm being pragmatic and looking at where we are in the world today, like, is it a good idea to name a sports team after a skin color, or
Hmm.
B, have that logo, that cartoony like logo? No, I personally would
Yeah.
would would
If
not
you're
want that.
affected by the Cleveland Indians, the Indian with the big smile and the teeth, and
Yeah,
not the most flattering of pictures. And yet, the Atlanta Braves are staying with their Braves. They're not going to change that. They're
I
going
think.
with the tomahawk chop and everything
Well,
like the game.
again, it's like it's just situational difference. When you're talking about skin color, or you're cartoonizing a a group of people. Like, yeah, Mick the dog says she loves Chief Wahoo. Yeah, I mean, I know people love it because you've been growing up with it, but I also understand the other side of it as well, which is like, I mean, they have that one picture, the one picture of the guy wearing you colored his face, and he's wearing the hat, the big Indian hat, and all the stuff all over it, and talking directly to the Indian people, and the Indian people are just sitting there like, "You look like an idiot." Right? Like, so I kind of agree. Like, we're in this new era of the world where, like, I probably shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff, right? I think we can move on past that, but it is interesting that they're deciding to go with another year. Like,
Yeah.
the Redskins were like, "All right, we get it. It's offensive. They're in Washington, the nation's capital. We're gonna rip the Band-Aid, and we're the football team,"
Yeah.
which is still, like, ridiculous that we call them. They couldn't
Cleveland
have come up.
baseball team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the baseball team. Like, come up with a name. Like, how long are they going to be the football team? Like, I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous to me. Anyway, all right. So I got all the scores, just so we all know. I got all the scores in, as many as I could. You only get to put in a score one time. So there's quite a bit of scores. Hopefully somebody will win. Hopefully you guys also saw the link for the Sabo I'm going to put the Sabo apparel link and the link to homage giveaway. Guys, go ahead and sign up here. I just made it. You don't have to retweet anything or do anything like that. Just enter with Twitch or YouTube. You get your entry, and I'm going to hit the button. I'm going to hit the the drawing button on the post game show. Hopefully, we'll be 10-3 at that point, and we'll all be happy drinking out of our Victory Monday mug because it'll still be technically Monday.
Right.
You know, if it's 11:30 and we can drink out of it. So,
You know what's funny? I don't know if it's funny, but it's pretty damn cool. But I just happened to go over to Twitter, and the first thing on my feed were the Browns like 37 seconds ago, and it was them coming out of the tunnel for warm-ups.
Oh,
And I got to tell you,
You're hyped?
the orange hat, the brown jersey, the orange pants, so good.
okay, so what are the jerseys? Is it the brown jersey?
Brown jersey, orange pants. It's gonna. I mean, look at me. I'm speechless. It's killer looking.
And Mike and I have talked about this. It's not that I'm not against any. I love the Browns new uniforms. I'm absolutely pro new Browns uniforms. I am not. I don't get that
I know
amped
where
about the
you're going.
pants. The pants. I'm cool with it, and I appreciate that you are, or that a lot of Browns fans love the orange pants. It's the 70s and brings back the Brian Sipes stuff, but it's cool. I personally was hoping that they'd break out an orange jersey, right? I put it on Twitch or on Twitter. I'm sorry, I put it on Twitter, and I put a picture of Lee Suggs in that orange jersey, and I really liked that one. I really hope that they eventually bring that back, and especially if it was a cool like color rush version of it, that'd be awesome too.
let me ask you this: who makes that decision?
The league allows you. Well, it's Nike and the league, so both of them. There's a certain amount of.
They dictate to the Browns which uniform they're going to wear that night.
No. The Browns get to choose. They get to choose what uniforms they wear, and I think that there's.
But who does it? The GM, the head coach, is it committee?
Is it JW, Mike?
I don't know. I think it's all of them together. And all of them, meaning the ownership group.
Okay. Yeah, because have we only broke out the color rush jerseys one time this year?
One
the
time.
Bengals game?
I thought they were breaking them out tonight.
I did too.
But that. So you wonder, well, and we don't have. You figure the Giants will probably wear their blue at home. The Jets will wear their green at home.
Right.
So we might not see the color rush again unless they wear it against the Steelers in the last game.
Well, the Steelers are going to wear. They're going to wear their black.
Yeah.
Most like the Jets could wear white. They could wear white at home.
Yeah.
They could. But you're right. The Giants are wearing blue. So yeah, maybe. And you know what? If we don't win the AFC North, then a home playoff game is going to be a tall order as well. So yeah, maybe just once this year. But I think honestly that was a little bit of the plan, right? Because when they were selling out, and Mike and I have talked about this on the Wednesday show a lot. When they're selling out of the special novelty jersey, and they're selling none of like the one that Mike's wearing right now, we're not selling any of those. That's a problem because you want to sell your normal jersey, right? And I think that's probably one of the reasons they want to. And you know what? I love the new jerseys. They are a slightly modern approach to the classic Browns jerseys, the Browns jersey I grew up with, and even in the early 2000s when they just came back into the league, even up through Brady Quinn and all those guys. It wasn't until we had the unfortunate ones that you're sporting right there, Mike.
Yeah.
that it went off the deep end.
And
right?
Just for you, I found this same jersey with the 100-year logo.
Okay.
Kids XL in orange. So hopefully you don't see it at all this year because I'll be still wearing this on win streaks. But eventually one day down the line, hopefully far down the line, I will wear it for you since I know you like the orange jersey.
I love the orange shirt. I think I thought I owned one. I thought I owned an orange. Yes, I do.
A JT one.
I think I own one orange, and I think it's a Tim Couch orange.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get a Lee Suggs one. I couldn't find. I thought I had a Lee Suggs one too. Apparently, I don't.
I have a
But
Joe
I don't know. I have a
Thomas.
billion. I have a billion jerseys up there, and I can't wear them. I'm too afraid. I just don't want to jinx the team, right? So, all right, guys, we got. We should probably wrap it up here soon, so we can all get ready for the game. We got about 20, maybe like 25 minutes till kickoff. So I know we all want to get settled in and get that beer cracked open and get ready to enjoy the beginning of the biggest game that we've had as Cleveland Browns fans and as an organization since we've been back since '99.
Wow.
Guys, I hope we win this one. I really, really do. I'm as nervous as I typically get going into big games right now. I do think we're going to win. I hope we have a good one. I hope it's 4 consecutive quarters of quality play. Hopefully we bring that Browns team that we saw in the first half of the Titans game, and we bring it, we make it happen. Big game today, guys. Browns win. Let's make it happen.
Go Brownies, go Brownies. See you at 11:30.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.